Hello, everyone. This is Charles Furlow, and you're listening to PTP Podcast. Today, we're talking about success in a challenging market, and we're talking with Chad Casper. He's our reigning franchise business owner of the year. Chad obviously had a great year last year, but he's continuing to grow at a really strong rate, even in these challenging times. So thanks for joining us, Chad.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Excited to have you here. So we want to get right into it, but before we do, just tell us a little bit about you, how long you've been in the business, where you're located, anything that you think we need to know.
Yeah, Chad Casper, been in the business since 2017, down here in Tucson, Arizona, married, 2 kids, just loving life.
Yeah. And so, size of the business, you've got 4 full-time inspectors plus yourself, plus who else?
One other part-time admin, and we are hiring a full-time receptionist. So we just hired them yesterday.
All right. Yesterday. Wow.
Yesterday, literally.
All right. So let's just jump right into it. As I said, as the reigning franchise business owner of the year, you obviously had a great year last year. You've made great contributions to the system in such a challenging market, and this is a challenging market. What are you doing to keep this strong growth spurt still going?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to say in a simple, easy answer, but I think what it comes down to is just last year when things started to slow down, we got a little creative. We started kind of thinking outside the box. So we were doing a lot of inspections for 1-year warranty inspections on new construction, doing a lot of new construction inspections, offering pre-listings, just getting as creative as we can, adding on as many added services as possible, just staying as competitive as possible as we could, and just really just driving AJS as far as our gross sales go. And marketing. I mean, there's all sorts of things that we're focused on doing and continuing to grow.
Yeah, so we'll get into several of the things that you just mentioned. So we'll start with, I always talk about, and we're all talking about really what I call the 3 things. It is the 3 things, and one is to deliver a fantastic, outstanding, differentiated brand experience is number 1. Number 2 is marketing, and we could just go on with marketing. And then the third thing is capacity. We have to have enough capacity to do the inspections when the customer or the realtor wants them. There's a little bit more to that capacity when it comes to marketing, but we'll come back to that. So the first thing was brand experience. So just what do you guys do? What is your thought process on the brand experience, and what role do you think it plays in your overall success?
I think it's very, very important to our success. It's actually one of the things that drove me to Pillar to Post. Being a customer of a home inspector in the past, I always felt like I overpaid for very, very little value. And so I think those brand standards help deliver on that value and that experience. And we hear it all the time from our customers when they give us the web punch reviews is, they showed up on time. Who would have thought that would be a big differentiator? They were professional, they were educational, they were just friendly. You hear so many stereotypes of the inspectors being these, old angry guys, and I think that dynamic is changing in our market, and I think we are doing a great job of that. But yeah, brand standards are super vital to really differentiating us and setting ourselves above our competitors, and in making sure that we're delivering on the brand promise to ensure confident home ownership.
Yeah, I was talking with someone the other day, and we were talking about brand experience, and they said, yeah, we do a really good job. And I said, well, a lot of people believe they do a good job, but their definition of a good job is they do a good, solid home inspection, they give a good, well-written report, and they're out the door. And they believe that's a good job. And it is a good job on that part of the experience. it's that overall experience. And I think the last time we talked, you were telling me about bringing snacks and water and things like that.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, I stole this from another franchise owner. But we very early on in my career, I had a client that was there for the entire time, and just every 5 minutes was like, "I'm hungry, I'm hungry, I'm tired, I'm thirsty." Da, da. And so finally, I was like, "All right, what do I do? How do I overcome this?" And so he suggested get like a little cooler with some snacks and throw some water in there. So yeah, we just have some chips and just some other non-perishable stuff. We can't do chocolate because it's Arizona and it melts. But we get a lot of our web punch reviews. They all mention the things that we do a good job with, but then they also always mention the snack bag. They're just so wowed that we brought snacks and that we were so considerate, especially in the summertime when it does get hot and people forget their water bottle. And it's always fun too because I bring little chairs too and throw those out for the client, and so they're always just excited just to sit there and eat their snacks while we're working. But it's just that one extra touch, that one little extra that no one else is doing in my area, and just really helps set us apart.
Right. I was going to say, so that falls under differentiated, right?
Correct.
But there's so many things that you're doing that are, and it is interesting that even answering the phone and booking the inspection right now, not leaving a voicemail and making them, some waiting for a call back, showing up on time, being dressed like a professional, like all of these things, sadly enough, differentiates us.
Right.
Not to mention the technology that we have and the things that are in the body of the report itself. So, okay, great. So that's one big piece. So this is probably for our discussion today, even a bigger piece, and that is marketing. So I like to say that a great brand experience, no matter how great it is, doesn't do you a lot of good if no one knows about it. So if I know you're a marketing machine, you're really active in the local real estate community, you work hard at social media. I know you've told me about even doing the simple things like donut boxes. So what does everyone need to know about all three of those areas uh, and their importance to your sustained growth?
Well, marketing is what drives everything. Without marketing, your phone's just not going to ring just because you wrap your vehicle nice and fancy, and all these other, you could do all these other things great, but if you don't market your business, they're not gonna call you. You're not going to be remembered by the agent or the client. And so for us, that is the key. That is my main focus right now, is driving the marketing to gain more market share, getting more agents to use us, so we can stay on top of our growth like we have been.
So I know I talked to you a week or so ago, and you were talking about the ratio of
Mhm.
inspections to realtor. In a challenging market, that number does change. So what has that meant? Well, explain what that means, and what are you guys doing about that?
Yeah. So what we did is, right before the start of this year, when I was trying to figure out my goals, I sat down and figured out that we had in 2022 about 190 agents that used us at least once, which equated to about an average of about 4 inspections per agent. And so I said, okay, if this same ratio continues for this next year, how many agents do I need to be able to hit my goal? And so I figured out that we needed 300 agents this year that have that same ratio. And so right now, we're at about a little over 200. We're about 205 at month end numbers.
Well, and one thing that does happen in a challenging market when home sale numbers go down is that you'll normally see that ratio go down. Maybe last year, maybe it was 4 to 1. Maybe this year it's 3 to 1. Or 1 to 3, one realtor, three referrals on average. Uh, well, if that's the case, you have to do business with more realtors just to do the same number of inspections as last year. But you have done 18% year to date more inspections than you did same time period last year. So I know you're doing a lot of it and you're doing everything, but what are if you're talking, for the people who are listening, what are you particularly doing? What seems to be working? And what are you really focusing on?
I think ultimately the goal is not just focusing on just any agent, but we're focusing on high producing agents, high producing teams, and really getting into those networks. Because as we all know, when the market kind of slows down, the fly by your seat of your pants agent, the one that typically does one or two a year, is probably not going to do many, if any, at all this year. And so the ones that have been in it a while, the ones that are real go getters that are out there grinding, they're the ones who are getting the deals. They're the ones who are we're focused on getting, so that we stay on top of the curve. But as far as like, my perfect week, well, we'll throw some workman solutions in there. It's a variety of different things, just trying to see, just basically just staying in front of the realtors. So I stay present in their mind, and I get comments all the time like, how many clones do you have, Chad? Because you are everywhere. So I'm doing donut boxes once, sometimes twice a week, depending on what city I'm in my territory. I'm attending MLS meetings for the various cities that I'm in. Women's Council of Realtors, I'm involved with two different chapters for that. And we actually were affiliate of the year for the Tucson chapter. So they have monthly activities, monthly events, even if it's just a presence that I'm there attending and just, rubbing elbows with as many agents as I can there. We're part of Real Producers Magazine, which highlights in my area the top 500 agents. So those are the big producers. So that's kind of allowed that door to open for me to really start getting to know them and working with them. BNI has been a really good opportunity for us. Other networking groups and other networking events have been just huge for us.
What role has I know you do a good bit in social media. What do you feel like that role is? I mean, obviously, social media without anything else is probably not the most effective thing in our business. But why is how do you use it, and why is social media effective? How do you use it to make it effective?
So it's another touch for me, for the agents that follow me and that see my stuff that pop up on the different various platforms that I'm on. For me, it's not about a direct sell. Social media really is more building good content and gaining a followership off that content. We've actually started getting a lot of clients that follow us on social media and then hire us because of the social media. A lot of agents are starting to see me that haven't used us before and are reaching out on social media like, hey, I want to start using you guys. You guys seem like you're really great and fun to be around. And, it's just the interaction. It's just another way of getting in front of them when, especially during COVID, when everybody was kind of in their home and they were not in the office. It was just another way to reach out to them. It's free. I have a lot of fun doing it. Several other franchisees and we collaborate a lot on different ideas and have done some fun videos together. But it's just a fun thing to do, and it's a fun way to market when I don't feel like I'm working when I do it.
Yeah. Well, like you said, it's another way to stay in front of people. It is easy and it is free, short of a little bit of time. So
Yeah.
I know we've got more and more and more franchise business owners that are doing it. I know if you were at the conference, you know that we actually had about nearly 200
Mhm.
franchise business owners who did some recordings there and have been working through our marketing people to get campaigns out there. That's been great. So I know more and more are doing it, but I'm sure there's a lot of questions around it. But okay, so let's just move along. In addition to yourself, I said you had four employee inspectors. We talk all the time about the importance of having capacity and being able to do the inspections, not just do more inspections, but do more inspections when the customer and the realtor wants them. That also plays a role in marketing. If you're the marketer,
Mhm.
um, what are your thoughts about capacity and the role of having enough of it plays in your growth?
Yeah, I hate turning away business. I hate telling people we're too busy. That to me is just, I would rather not be busy at all than have to turn business away. So we monitor our capacity every month, just making sure that we are where we need to be. And if we're, once we kind of hit that 70% capacity ratio, that's when I'm like, okay, we got to start looking and hiring somebody. Because if you're turning business away too often, those agents will stop calling you, and they'll tell other people like, no, Chad's too busy. He can't handle your flow. In fact, a lot of the big busy teams, when I was first starting off as a single solo operator, they said, unless you can guarantee us a spot within 2 business days, if you're too busy, we won't use you. So you have to be a multi-inspector firm for us to want to use you. And so that's kind of, again, allowed me to grow my team so that I can go after kind of the bigger fish and the bigger producing teams and agents.
Right. Well, the interesting thing about those three things that I was talking about is if you're missing any of the three, it doesn't work. The business doesn't work. And so I was just thinking, you said you don't want to turn inspections away, but I was thinking if you're doing a great brand experience and you're just marketing like crazy, but you don't have that capacity to do things when everyone wants them and needs them done, what good were the first two?
Right.
And I could do the switch around on any of those three and ask the same question.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
yeah, that's so we talked about that, but I mentioned marketing, and I didn't mention improving lifestyle.
Hmm.
But have you ever given any thought to that about hiring people, having them have the capacity to do the inspections, giving you the time to do the marketing, and what does that do to your overall lifestyle day to day?
Oh, it's huge. When you start off as a single solo operator, you're wearing as many hats as possible, and it's a juggling act. It can be very, very stressful trying to get all of that in. But allowing me to grow my capacity, grow my team, not only has it changed their lives, being able to provide a good stable career for my employees, but it's allowed me to spend more time with my family. I can actually take vacations now and not worry, is the phone being answered, am I still making money? It's allowed us just to create more wealth for ourselves, and a better lifestyle, and not have to stress so much about, I got to be out there every day inspecting houses. It's allowed me more time to take those hats off and assign those hats to other people. And I love marketing. I was a marketing major in college, and I've kind of just had a career in marketing. So that's kind of just where my natural skill set goes. And I'm just passionate about it and I enjoy it. And so it's allowed me to take a step out of the field and allow my guys, who are much more qualified to inspect homes than I am, to allow them to do a great job, and it allows me to go market and drive the business forward and keep their pockets full and their families fed.
Yeah. Well, I think it's just an interesting part of something that we don't talk about a lot.
Hmm.
It is that we always talk about capacity from the standpoint of doing inspections, being able to do inspections when they want them done. We don't talk about how it frees up time to do marketing and how it really frees up time and flexibility for your lifestyle,
Correct.
whatever that happens to be. So
Right.
it's just an interesting piece. Listen, you did tell me at some point, you said, hey, I think it was when we were talking about doing this podcast, and you said, you know what, there's no secret, there's no magic, everyone can do what I do. That's what you said.
Hmm.
What did you mean by that?
I am not that talented. There are people in this network that are way more talented than I am. Um, I think just not just in our network, but just in our society, I think we're looking for that magic pill, that one simple, easy fix that's going to change our life. And I've just come to realize that anything worth doing is not going to be easy. And so I think it takes a focused effort and just being disciplined, doing the things you don't want to do today so you can do the things you want to do tomorrow. It just takes a lot of focused, disciplined effort, and just realizing that there are deals happening. People are changing jobs, getting married, downsizing, retiring. People are just, realizing that, hey, I don't want to, with the lockdowns, they're like, hey, I want to move states. So we're seeing a lot of changes, and those deals are happening. And I think just realizing that we can't control everything that's going on in the real estate market, but we can control our attitude, and we can control our activity, our focused efforts on continuing to grow the business. And I think that's ultimately why I say there's really no magic pill. It's a lot. It's work, getting to work.
Yeah. Well, that's a great point. I wrote that down when you said it, so I wanted to give you a chance to talk about that today. A few minutes ago, you mentioned the workman success systems.
Mm-hmm.
So if anyone listening was not at conference, you may not know exactly who they are, but it's a company that we've connected with, and they were at the conference and taught some classes, were a main stage speaker. And now we've got 100 people, 100 of our franchise business owners who are in a monthly training for the full year of 2023. We've just for the record, later this fall, we'll have a second class that'll be starting up. So if you're interested in that, absolutely talk to your regional director. But what have you gleaned from that so far? What has it meant to you? How does it fit in the things that you've been telling us so far today?
Yeah. It's been fantastic for us to be a part of this. I'll say this with a little caveat, like, I was already doing a lot of these things that they were talking about. I just didn't realize I was doing them. But one of the things that has been beneficial for me, from a workman standpoint, is being able to systemize it. They've actually been giving us the tools and the systems to make it easier, and so it's actually helped kind of put my marketing plan on steroids. It's just helped me be a lot more organized, a lot more focused on revenue generating activities, focused on producing the right activities. So I'm not doing fake work all day, and really just being geared towards continuing to grow the business and grow my market share.
Yeah. Yeah. Just kind of simply, it's a sales and marketing system,
Right.
measurable and trackable and planned out. So yeah, well, good. Listen, we're going to run out of time. So as we wrap up, if someone out there is listening and they want to grow their business and they want to grow it in the face of this challenging market, not just waiting and waiting and waiting until the market comes back, what advice do you have to give them? I think you just gave them some in that last answer, but as we wrap up and move out, what are the things that you think those people need to know?
Yeah, a couple of things I would say is first is know your why. Why are you doing this business? Why did you get into this business? For me, it was I wanted freedom and control. I wanted to be my own boss. I wanted more financial freedom, financial wealth. Being able to provide for my wife and kids, and I think that's my driving factor every morning, is being able to provide them the things that they need and want. So understanding your why. Just getting out of your comfort zone. I know it's scary getting back into marketing. I know it's scary hiring people, but face your fears and overcome them. There's plenty of us in this network that have done those things and can help coach and guide and give advice to those who are needing that. That would be the last thing I would say, is just seek that guidance and coaching, that help. Pillar to Post has been great. My RD has been awesome. There's plenty of there's so much help out there, and there's so many people that want to help you grow your business, that it's just a matter of choice of whether you want to do it or not.
Yeah, and interestingly, I've in the course of the talk today, I've heard you talk about uh, getting help from other franchisees. I've heard you talk about your RD. I've heard you talk about navigator groups, and I've heard you talk about workman success systems.
Hmm.
So, like you said, there's a lot of things out there. There's a lot of help, and it's just out there ready for the taking. So, well,
Absolutely.
wonderful.
Absolutely.
Well, this brings us to the end of this podcast. Thanks, Chad, for joining us today. I appreciate you sharing what's going on in your world and how you're succeeding regardless of the circumstances. To all of our listeners or those watching this video, if you have any questions or suggestions for future podcast episodes, please reach out to alicia.sumar@pillartopost.com. or you can just reach out to your regional director and they'll reach out to Alicia for you. But thank you for everyone for listening, and have a great rest of your day.